In order to do this right, we need to find some servers.
Trap e-dating discords.
Yes.
Like, you can't use or like wink and nod towards or like problematic tropes that are targeted at a marginalized community if you're not in the marginalized community and expect to not receive criticism for it at the very least.
We've banned that word, the T word.
Right. Sure. I mean, yeah, like you have to understand, like the banning of the word doesn't mean that
I just never referred to myself as that.
I mean, objectively, as someone who identifies as a cis man, if a straight man thinks that they're attracted to Finn, they're gay.
The reason why I haven't transitioned yet, out of all of them, it's probably because I'm a dude and I like being a dude. That's number one. That's I'd say the most important one. You know, others may disagree.
If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you already know who 𝒊�nn5ster is. He's a popular Twitch streamer and Minecraft YouTuber best known for cross-dressing. Already you can see the issue, right? Out of all the genres you could have picked, you chose to be a Minecraft YouTuber. At this point it's just common knowledge that Minecraft YouTubers are the absolute worst.
I'm sure you can immediately tell who this is.
Hi. You're so awkward.
I used to work for a Minecraft YouTuber when I was like 15, and 8 years later I still haven't recovered physically nor mentally. All I'll say is that they were a fully grown 20-plus-year-old adults telling a bunch of minors that they would off themselves if we quit. That experience permanently altered my brain chemistry. They also dated a 16-year-old at the time, and I was 15, so I didn't realize how fucked up it was. I was just side-eyeing it like, I wouldn't personally do it, but you do you. And now I realize, that was not okay. This has nothing to do with 𝒊𝒊�nster, by the way. It's just one of those things I have to mention whenever on the topic of Minecraft YouTubers. That being said, 𝒊𝒊�nster was in hot water not so long ago for potentially doing a transphobia. Now, I don't want anyone to watch half of this video and walk away thinking I actually think that 𝒊𝒊�nster is transphobic. That's not to say that there's no warranted criticism nor lesson to be learned, so take a couple of breaths. Relax, try not to freak out before I've made my point, and last but not least, enjoy the video.
So do I think I'm transgender? Yes, 1000%. Do I identify with my natural born gender? 1000%.
This whole controversy sparked off around the turn of the year when 𝒊𝒊�nster tweeted out a set of pictures with the caption, "Throwback to 3 years ago. Wow, I've really changed." And I gotta say, that's one of the most impressive transition timelines, seeing as he started out as a completely different person. Listen, I suffer from pretty bad facial blindness, so I'm not really one to talk, but it kinda took me by surprise how many people actually thought that was Finn and didn't recognize the #1 gay Republican Minecraft YouTuber, 𝒊𝒐𝒎𝒎𝒆. That guy, by the way. I can't make myself a damn sandwich without my brain going, Parsons rocked 𝒔𝒄𝒓𝒊𝒃.
In the Where's this silly little country you live in, dude?
It's my silly little country, asshole. You have no room to talk, you damn yank.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Anyways, most people probably didn't realize it was 𝒂𝒄𝒓𝒊𝒃 in the picture because Joseph's most recognizable feature is being a very handsome member of the LGBT, his mutton chops. So to see John without them is pretty jarring. Now, the reason this ruffled a lot of people's feathers is because neither F1nn5ster nor 𝒂𝒄𝒓𝒊𝒃 is trans. As far as we know. I could change that. I could change that. Give me 5 minutes in a room with them and I could change that. Admittedly, I'm not an average watcher of Finn. I've followed him for some time now, so I have a rough idea of his shtick, and I did quite some research, but I don't regularly tune in to watch the British twink in a dress. I do know that 𝒊nnster is a cishet man. That's right. This is the ideal male body. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.
I cry myself to sleep at night knowing I'll never be him. I can overdose on testosterone, I can lose all my hair, but I'll never be this masculine, this raw masculine energy. Jokes aside, I personally think it's pretty dope to see a cishet man dressed like this confidently. I think we all can agree that traditional masculinity is very restrictive, although I kinda like it. A lot of the time, masculinity is almost defined by everything that femininity isn't. It's more socially acceptable for a woman to be more masculine, and in certain cases, it's even rewarded. Meanwhile, the worst a man could ever be is feminine, and the only time someone AMAB would want to present femininely is because they're a trans woman or a gay, two groups of people that society at large do not accept nor respect, and to even be mistaken for one is considered an insult to most. And I guess that's why I find Finn so interesting, because he is neither of those. He is a self-proclaimed cishet man who likes dressing up femininely, and to do so all while insisting he's still a cis man and straight is one step in the right direction, I think, because ultimately we need to blur the lines of the gender binary and normalize gender variance in order to reach gender liberation. That means accepting that not everyone that presents femininely is a woman, and not everyone that pushes gender norms somehow is trans. That's probably why it really bothers me when people make certain jokes about Finn, most commonly egg jokes.
This is your brain. This is
Femboys.
this is your brain on
Femboys.
Ooh.
For those of you that aren't up to speed with trans lingo, the word egg refers to a trans person, more often than not trans femmes, who are still in denial about being trans. I think the term is useful for talking about your past self, though it's become sort of an inside joke where trans people call someone who shows signs of gender nonconformity an egg, despite them insisting that they're cis. I'm very much aware that it's a silly joke not meant to be taken seriously, but I can't help but get annoyed, simply because it's just another way to once again reinforce the gender roles with a woke twist to it. Being gender non-conforming is completely okay, but it does not necessarily make you trans. The main difference between cis and trans really is the identification at the end of the day, something that does not matter if you're clocked out in public. Like, a transphobe does not care if you're a trans woman or a gender non-conforming man.
Are you a man or a woman?
Why does that matter?
Well, because you're in the ladies' room.
Okay.
And I have gotten called out several times for being in the men's room.
Okay.
And you're going to be called out for whatever you're doing. So what are you identifying as today?
But you know who it does matter to? Random people online who wants to gatekeep, girl boss, and gaslight. They took issue with Finn posting what's perceived as a trans timeline while identifying with the label cis.
Do you think people see me as part of it though? Because I don't see myself as under the trans umbrella at all.
Admittedly, it does very much look like a trans timeline. Never mind the fact that the first picture is actually 𝒂𝒊𝒃𝒃. Like, be honest with yourself for a second. If you saw a before and after photo of someone presenting as two completely different genders without context, would you not assume that it's a trans timeline? Yet, as many people have been quick to point out, trans people do not own before and after photos.
Okay.
Anyone who has gone through a drastic change might want to do a comparison, and it's not like Finn has always looked like, well, like that.
Woo! Really hoped you enjoyed that. Bit of a weird video, I know. Maybe you forgot what I look like. I look like this. Pretty manly, right? Hold on. What's a manly pose? Hell yeah.
But after peeping the QRTs, you'd find that this tweet wasn't received well at all. I just find it a little weird that this is a cis man who profits off of people who fetishize trans femmes. Bro, I'm legit tired of hearing about this guy. Is this what stolen valor feels like? Because they didn't try at all? I'd drop a rock on his head, to be honest. Okay, what the f***? That's a little uncalled for, don't you think?
Kill everyone now!
Although, I wouldn't put it like that. I actually can see where a lot of these people are coming from. It's a place of experience. When people like you have been the butt of every joke, and the very concept of your mere existence is considered laughable enough on its own, you're gonna be a little more defensive, because here's a walking, talking human being that's basically the trope that's been weaponized against you your entire life. That being a man in a dress. Someone who passes perfectly as a woman, but constantly affirms that they are indeed a male. You know when transphobes go, why can't you just be a feminine man? Or why can't you just be a masculine woman? This is it. This is what they're talking about. Finn is the feminine man all transphobes are talking about. I think it's safe to say that's absolutely not his intention, but it's just where my mind goes, okay? Who wanna bet that these people would still take issue with Finn even though he's exactly what they claim trans people should be?
So do I think I'm transgender? Yes, 1000%. Do I identify with my natural born gender? 1000%.
One trans woman who voiced her opinion in a thread on Twitter was none other than 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒕. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Where she said, I have a lot of respect for feminine guys that essentially just look like women but aren't trans. That being said, some of them milking the whole trap thing and baiting people into thinking they're trans just to turn around like, haha, I'm a dude, really rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. Especially certain people that make a lot of money doing it. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't. It gives me the biggest wave of secondhand embarrassment. Listen, nothing is gonna make me think that it's not weird and uncomfortable for me as a trans woman to witness someone make being mistaken as trans into a bit and a gimmick and essentially their entire brand. She tweeted this the 2nd of January, 2 days after Finn made his controversial timeline. It's obviously about 𝒊𝒏𝒊𝒏, okay? He actually did respond to her, and I think it's safe to say he's doing so in good faith, judging by his conversation with Faye on Kevil's stream, and later, poly people, which I'll get into soon. Just stay with me. Don't you dare click off. It's bad for my watch time. Like this video while you're at it and comment, all hail the femboys. Thank you. Love you. Finn responded, what is it that some of them do that baits people into thinking they're trans? If they're presenting feminine but constantly reinforce they identify as male, how would it bait someone into thinking they're trans specifically? I personally don't think there is a straightforward answer because this is such a unique situation. His entire shtick is that he poses as a woman, and when you're AMAB, 99.9% of the time, people will just assume that you're a trans woman, okay? Especially compared to, let's say, a drag queen, which I've seen many people try to compare this to.
Advocate cannibalism. Eat.
The difference is that drag queens are caricatures. They look like they're about to put on a performance. Meanwhile, Finn looks like any girl you'd see in the streets, if it wasn't for his Playboy bodysuit, of course.
Good girl.
Thanks. No! Not thanks. Fuck you. Suck my nut.
Obviously, this doesn't mean he can't do what he's doing. I support him 100%. I just wanted to establish that people who aren't familiar with him are gonna think he's a trans woman. This is demonstrated in his old Omegle videos, which he's now denounced.
The like Omegle shock value content of like, wow, like, hey, it's a girl, and then you go, wow. Like that shit, I still do find that a little shitty now, and that's the reason why I've sort of stopped making videos like that. That channel's just been dead in the water.
In them, he just dresses up as a woman, goes on Omegle, people see a hot chick, and then he speaks. On more than one occasion, he was believed to have been a trans woman.
Oh shit.
Holy crap, what's your Discord?
I mean, I can give you my Discord.
Please do. And never go post-op.
Oh my god, I can't tell if you're a trap or if you're like actually
I'm a trap. Just a guy.
I'm a terrible person. I laughed. Wait, what if he was actually like transgender?
Faye responded, I think sometimes the reinforcement of maleness can kinda be the issue. As a trans woman online, when someone's yelling, "That's a dude," it's pretty degrading and insulting, and when you see someone that isn't trans make being clocked into this funny haha gotcha, it's like, And yeah, I think things like transition timelines or whatever as a cis person are a bit weird, even as a bit, and just kinda adds to what I previously said. But despite what everyone seems to think, I don't have an issue with people like you that are gender non-conforming, and I actually respect you asking questions and seemingly caring about how it might make some people feel. I have literally zero issue with you or anyone else besides that. Now, I just want to expand on Faye's statement a bit regarding the reinforcement of maleness being the issue. I cannot speak for Faye, but what I think she meant is that it very much comes off as trap content.
It's a trap!
Trap refers to someone that is indistinguishable from a cis woman but was assigned male at birth. This person traps clueless men under the notion that they're a woman, who's cis of course, only to turn around and go, haha, I tricked you, I'm actually a man, now suck my biological male. Now you might be wondering, Miles, does this actually happen in real life? Of course it doesn't. But that doesn't stop cisheads from fear-mongering about trans people. There's one thing cisheads and white people love doing, it's imagine situations where they're the victims of marginalized people to justify their bigotry. You have no idea how many times I've been told something along the lines of, I have no problem with trans people, but I think it's up that they trick people into sleeping with them without informing them that they're trans. Like, it's really not that uncommon to think trans people, trans women in particular, are sexual predators trying to trick you into thinking they're a woman and then whip out their Usually people defend the use of this trope by saying that traps are completely different from trans women. Traps are men dressed up as women, meanwhile trans women are women. There's obviously a huge difference between cross-dressers and trans women, but your average person is not gonna know the difference, especially transphobes. Like, they genuinely think that trans women are just men in dresses. Triggered. That being said, I personally don't think anyone should be doing trap content, whether you're a man in a dress, a trans woman, or non-binary, I don't know, I don't give a because it's so rooted in trans misogyny. I just can't think of any possible way to do so while completely separating it from transphobia.
That's my opinion!
I understand some of you are gonna want to jump to 𝒂𝒨 the Fins. I get it, because while doing research for this video, he really did grow on me, and I genuinely believe he doesn't mean any harm. He's doing a lot of good for the trans community, especially by normalizing gender nonconformity and, you know, just setting up a fund of $50,000 to get trans people in the UK healthcare via private clinics, which will significantly shorten the waiting time.
So here's what I did. Right now, there's a bank account with $25,000 in it. That money is not mine. It is yours. You might be wondering why I'm doing this in 𝒂𝒨's goodbye video, and it's because me and him talked about it. And I have good news. Turns out I'm not giving away $25,000. I'm giving away $50,000. 𝒂𝒨 is matching this with us. He's helping out with how to distribute the money, and I think that's a really cool thing that he's doing. I didn't want to make it a fundraiser that you guys contribute to. I want this purely coming out of my pocket and I guess 𝒂𝒨's pocket and going to you guys to give back. I want to keep doing stuff like this. I want to do this at least every year. It's a subject that, thanks to you, is pretty close to me now, but I'm willing to accept that I don't know enough about it. I'm looking forward to suggestions. If anyone in the UK happens to run a clinic or anything like that, and, you know, reach out. I'm available, and I have a big pot of money to give you.
Believe me, as a trans guy, that means the absolute world to those trans people. I've been waiting for about 3 years, and I still haven't heard from the clinic, but I did get top surgery at a private clinic in April of last year, which has made the wait for hormones significantly more bearable. I still feel like a piece of shit, but at least I'm no longer a super old piece of shit. So that's good, that's always good. I genuinely can't overstate how important this is to trans people. So what Finn is doing is very commendable, I would say. But you know how the internet is. Once something picks up steam, everyone's quick to join in on the discourse, and I don't know, I'm not really one to judge. Get that bag, king, queen, monarch.
How many genders are there?
I don't know, I just got here.
One of them being my boy, Brother Malcolm TV, formerly known as Goddammit Malcolm, who also hosted a 2v1 debate regarding whether 𝒊nnster is harming the trans community or not. If that's something you're into, then you should definitely go check his channel out, especially if you're interested in trans mask stuff specifically. Anyhow, well-renowned streamer 𝒄𝒶𝒊𝒃𝒆 also tossed her hat in the ring. I should point out that this script was written before the whole 𝒄𝒶𝒊𝒃𝒆 r-slur situation blew up. One controversy at the time, please. I don't want to rewrite this entire script because some popular streamer thought it would be funky fresh to use ableist language.
What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
𝒄𝒂𝒊𝒃𝒆 did take the side of Finn, which I don't take issue with at all. Like, I personally think people are being too hard on him rather than having a constructive conversation, which 𝒄𝒂𝒊𝒃𝒆 did actually facilitate between Finn and Faye, so props to her. However, I think she could have done so without dismissing some concerns and criticism of trap content, especially since she acknowledges that trap originated as a term used against trans women.
It's weird because like, I've been back and forth on the trap discourse. When I was just coming out, trap definitely referred to just a trans woman, but now I've seen there's an entire contingent of men online who are convinced that trap only refers to men, and if you are a trans woman, you cannot be a trap. However, I don't think that the people that necessarily as trans women actually care that much about the distinction there.
So she's aware that trans femme fetishizers don't care to distinguish between cis men who trick people into thinking they're girls and trans women who haven't had bottom surgery. Never mind the fact that the concept of a man purposely tricking others into thinking that they're a girl only to turn around and go, "Ha! You're attracted to a man!" is kinda icky in and of itself. I just don't think it's possible to separate this kind of trope from its origins as a slur and a stereotype. To be honest, at one point she seemed so steadfast in defending 𝒊nnster while talking to a fellow streamer and trans woman, poly people, that she went a little off the rails and made arguments in support of something he wasn't even doing and only made him look worse.
Finn's entire platform built on transphobia.
Well, his entire thing is trap content, like fooling people into saying, "Look, you're gay for liking me. I'm actually a woman. Lol, I fooled you," sort of stuff. Like, how does the trans community not take strays from that? And how is it okay for him to lean into those kind of tropes when he doesn't pay the price for it?
I mean, objectively, as someone who identifies as a cis man, if a straight man thinks that they're attracted to Finn, they're gay.
I don't know if this is gonna be controversial, but if you're a guy and you find yourself attracted to someone that looks every bit a woman, that doesn't make you gay no matter their gender identity. All it means is that this guy can make a convincing woman. You're bi. Don't tell me, as a member of the LGBTQ, that you've never heard a straight man say, "I have nothing against the gays, but if one of them ever flirts with me, I'll knock them down." That's how insecure they are. They feel threatened by the off chance that a gay would ever even flirt with them. Like, take a f***ing compliment, dude.
Drink the gay potion.
I mean, say what you want about Polly, she went a little too hard on 𝒄𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆, though she softened up a bit, but I'm not gonna say that I don't understand where she's coming from or that she's overreacting, because she's entitled to her opinion and her feelings. I mean, I agree with her on a couple of points and I appreciate her honesty.
The thing that upset me is 𝒄𝒄𝒊's running defense for you, and that's what I told her. Like that pissed me off real bad, especially because the defense was horrendous. Like, you're jealous, or the trans community are like whining bitches, essentially. She didn't say that. She's like, we're traumatized and overreactive, and I thought that was pretty shitty.
I thought it was, well, it's one of those things where she told, so when I got that opinion, I was like, okay, that's cool. It's not an opinion that I can have. It's it seems a bit more dismissive.
I did notice that, by the way. I was like, how is 𝒊nster the one who's pushing back on 𝒄𝒄𝒊's? Like, what? I was blackpilled.
Okay, so I hate to sound like a f***ing fence-sitter by going, I think everyone's a little bit right, but having listened to both conversations over and over again, I genuinely think they both make good points, and that it's more about finding a middle ground, because 𝒄𝒄𝒊's argued for a more open community and realizing that transphobes do not give a f*** what you identify and are gonna go just as hard after Finn as they would an actual trans woman if they saw him in the street. At the same time that this is true, Finn himself seems to realize that there's a certain privilege that he's afforded which sets him apart from trans women. That's not to shame him or say he has to check his privilege. You know, it's just a fact, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Being gender non-conforming and fitting into the umbrella with all the other gender non-conforming people. I feel like the rule set is just way too strict. Like, the trans community is so tight because we got rejected by cisgender heteronormative society. So we kind of band together. There's like really tight-knit communities that are trans. But I feel like when that happens, people start creating new rules in order to ostracize people from their community.
Do you think people see me as part of it though? Because I don't see myself as under the trans umbrella at all.
It's hard to say. If you were to dress like how you're currently dressing in public, and then a bigot finds out that you're a guy, I don't think the reaction is going to be much different than from a trans woman.
No.
No, absolutely not.
But again, I got a solid amount of privilege in that department. Like, it doesn't cause me any dysphoria to go outside it, like, completely presenting masculine. Like, that doesn't, I can just go and do that and I'm good, and that's what I can do forever.
Oh, for sure. But at the same time, you kind of relinquish your privilege when you announce it publicly on your really big platform.
I live in a small place. I don't think anyone's gonna come fucking hunt me down. I go outside very few times. I don't really have any responsibilities that involve me leaving my home. So maybe it's a personal circumstance thing. It is definitely a personal circumstance thing, and I'm more okay with it. But
it's different for everyone.
As the big boy streamer, Finn could have done what every other content creator would have done and gone, people hate me because they're jealous that I'm gorgeous and rich. His fans would have eaten that shit up without looking further into it. But he didn't. He didn't. Instead, he went on the stream of poly people despite her unfavorable opinion of him, because he genuinely wanted to know how he could be better for the trans community.
First off, I know you were disinclined to talk, and so you changed your mind, so that is heartening to begin with. So I thank you for that right off the bat.
I DM'd you a good couple. Thanks. I DM'd you a good couple paragraphs on Twitter, but my main thing is just like I'm not like a political commentator, I guess, so I'm not big on arguments. It's not my type of content.
You know, I am nothing if not honest. So like my opinion was, well, you know, like you've built a following off of what you do, so it's not. You can tell me I'm wrong, but you know, my take is you'd be super inclined to make any changes that are likely to hurt what's built the brand, you know. So like, the thing that really upset me is 𝒄𝒄𝒊's running defense for you, and that's what I told her.
Polly's main issue seemed to be with the trap content, to which 𝒊nster actually did inform her that he didn't use the word trap, and it's even banned in his chat.
I don't think you watch really my content, because I have heard a couple things that you've misquoted me on.
Okay.
So I don't think that you watched most of it. Especially the I don't really want to say it, it's really my chat's like we've banned that word, the T word.
Right. Sure. I mean, yeah, like you have to understand, like the banning of the word doesn't mean that,
I just never referred to myself as that. And when you were talking to 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆, so I watched the 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆 thing.
Yeah.
It was 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆 didn't really have a good argument to make because you're making it seem like I was using that word or I was referring to myself in that way. I get the basis of like it's in the same zone of what people like that did. I'm trying to distinguish myself from that because it seems really gross.
It's fairly obvious that he's trying to be a good ally and not feed into harmful stereotypes, the most obvious one being trap, of course. He did at one point make content revolving around that concept, most notably his Omegle videos, which I previously mentioned.
We need to find some servers.
Trap dating discords.
Yes. Oh wait, dating. E-girl. Oh. This one says Trap World and it's got 800 people on. Yeah, that looks like me.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
He has since grown and wants to do better. One thing I've really appreciated is that he didn't seem to just come on there to appease the crowd so he could then move on without internalizing any of it. You could tell because he was asking a lot of questions to really understand the issue. My favorite thing was him taking notes.
It's so easy to cross the line. It's just the nature of the territory.
I'm just writing. I'm so goddamn forgetful. I'm writing notes as we go.
Oh.
So there's a couple things I wanted to talk about.
How can you be mad at him? He's just a little guy. Look at him. He's taking notes, guys. Oh my god. 𝒊𝒏𝒆ter's content has changed as he's grown on YouTube and as a person. He's long since moved on from the Omegle trap videos. Yet, Polly argued that it's possible to still create so-called trap content without explicitly using that word.
This is just part of the problem, right? Is so like
Sure.
your avoidance of the word doesn't help, right? Like, so the reason why 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆 like conceded to the trap characterization is because she knows as well as I do the word is not is only part of the power. If I'm looking at it more charitably, I could just say, look, this is just another instance of just ignorance, right? Like you can still do trap related content and further trap related fears and trap related transphobia without using the word, right?
I get, well, so the only thing that I was bringing up was when you did talk to 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆, it was like a very clear that I used this word or I refer to myself in that way. I think specifically you said he's referring to himself as this, and I don't do that. And I think when she's heard that, she sort of had to then, she was shifting her argument, it made it, you know. There was even a thing recently that you don't know about, but I'll give you some ammunition here against me.
Okay.
There was a part of my stream, like, 4 streams ago, like within the month. So what I ended up doing on stream was this sort of shitty thing I didn't realize I was doing, but it carried on for like a good 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Where I was parodying a hot tub streamer where I'd wrote like big pink text up top saying like, one more sub and I'll change my bikini and shit. It was just sort of memeing around. And in that joke specifically, I was trying to do the female voice with the mask on and specifically going like, gotcha, and I didn't like that. And looking back on it, it felt gross.
That's all fine until the gotcha. Like I've been straw man to hell on this. Like please, no, you dressing up in a fucking bikini and looking hot as an AMAB person, like dude, like I'm all for that. Who is not for that? Looking hot in a hot tub, kind of even like mimicking hot tub streamers as an AMAB person, that's edgy, that is that's good, it breaks down barriers, it's all the stuff that we like, right? But then I fooled you, I'm actually a guy, that's the thing that becomes problematic because it plays into transphobic tropes. And unfortunately 𝒄𝒊𝒃𝒆 did a disservice for us all when she said, well, if you're attracted to Finn in that situation, you are gay. I'm like, that's not how gay works.
You are gay.
As someone who hasn't kept up with 𝒊𝒏𝒆ter, when I look through his Twitter, I see pictures of him dressed up all pretty, looking femme. Like Polly said, that's not the issue. The issue really is how it's presented. it's a punchline. Juxtaposed with someone like James Charles, for the lack of a better comparison. Hi sisters! Who dresses very femininely as a beauty influencer and even dresses up as a girl sometimes. You better get the best one. It's different though, cause as far as I know, James isn't constantly teasing the fact that he's actually a man that passes as a girl. He just does it, he just dresses up like that. Meanwhile, the focal point of 𝒊𝒏𝒆ter's content isn't how good he looks or his interesting outfits, even though he's very gorgeous. It's the fact that he's a cishet man, which is played up for shock value. Gasp. There's a surprise under the dress.
He's pulling his out!
Why get a girlfriend when you can just become the girlfriend? I have decided you like guys now. Who needs women when there are men like these? I got you a special package.
He's pulling his out!
Before I continue, I'm just gonna quickly plug my stuff rather than doing so at the end. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. My numbers have been stagnant lately, so it would mean the world if you recommended my channel to someone you'd think would enjoy it. Follow me on Twitter. You'll find my commission sheet in my pinned if you want an icon drawn by the one and only Muggen Mylle. Get it while you still can. Link in the description. You'll also find my Ko-fi in case you'd like to donate. And my TikTok. That's right, I started doing TikTok, guys. I'm expanding the brand. I'm expanding as a person. Now you can see my stupid face every other day if you'd like to. You're welcome. To finally wrap things up, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You wanna know what I honestly think? I think it's a waste of time, although I would never want to dismiss the feelings or experience of trans women, and they're entitled to their opinions on 𝒊𝒏𝒆ter. But this is such a complex issue that it's impossible to arrive at a solution that doesn't involve restricting someone's gender expression, which is literally everything I go against, especially when it's just a cishet dude doing it. Like, they're already under so much pressure to conform to traditional masculinity, so it's just not right to go, stop breaking gender norms because you're doing it wrong! Triggered. Since he's already stopped feeding into the most transphobic trope, that being traps, I think the potential to reinforce transphobia is outweighed by the explicit support of trans people he associates with a lot of trans femmes.
When he sleeps, I put on 𝒙𝒐𝒹𝒴𝒄𝒄, so he wakes up longing for cock.
Okay.
And you know what happens right after? With my morning about 45 centimeters long.
That being said, let me know your thoughts down below. Especially if you're a trans femme, I would like to hear if you agree or you disagree with me. Maybe expand a bit, I don't know. That's about all I had to say. Thank you for watching. Bye!